Today we're going to do a video for the Prepper Project fans, and today we're going to do a video on the Biolite Camp Stove. I've already done a couple, but we're going to try out the Camp Stove and the KettlePot at the same time, and we'll cook some hot dogs, just something basic. Haven't used the Camp Stove yet. You can see it's still brand new. So I've showed you how to get this started before, and of course I'm going to show you another little trick here. Basically, once you get your fire going, the first thing you got to do is put some small stuff in it and get it going. And then you put some little sticks in it, find stuff out in the yard or wherever that makes a good firewood. Got a lot of dry stuff. It's better to go ahead and collect you a little group of things that you can set aside that will be dry out, so that by the time you get to and after you get it started burning a little bit, you go ahead and kick it on. And you got to make sure, like I said before, you got this battery already, should be charged up already, otherwise it won't come on and get the fire going good. You'll get the hang of it after you've done this about 10 or 20 times. Mainly you just got to keep putting some small stuff in there. So this little dry grass is really good. You got to get in there without burning yourself. Of course, doing it on the back of something that's plastic probably isn't the best thing, but I think it'll get a little bit better on the video having it right here. Got the sun coming in so you can see it better. So basically you just get the smallest little sticks you can get and get all that burning. And that gets your fire going. And you kind of want some coals. So basically I'm just going to do a whole video and just let the whole thing run from the beginning to the end here. It should be a long video. We're going to cook some hot dogs, and then I've got a can of beans. So what we're going to do, or not, green beans. So we're going to cook those in the KettlePot. We're just going to pour them in. I got a can of beets too that we've canned previously. So we're going to take them out of that, put them in here, heat them up, and make hot dogs and green beans and beets. And all that came right out of our garden right here. Eventually we'll do some garden videos on our square foot gardens because things are getting pretty good. Got a lot of strawberries in already. So that's probably the first thing I'll do is we'll go out and look at the strawberries. Early part of the season they tend to grow real good. We've had some rain, so they're going to start slowing down a little bit. So you can see how your fire swirls. Got that air coming in and it just swirls around. Now, while it's getting started here, I want to show you this little solar match. This thing actually works. You can take this, take a little piece. Problem is we don't have the sun right now. I was going to show this to you. We had some sun, then the sun goes off, and now we got all these clouds coming in. I don't think we'll get a chance to see this, but you can take. I just got a little piece of a bag. You can kind of tear that bag, or something that burns good, a tissue or anything, and then you can, let me just move a little closer. You can see it's got, this is the focal point right here. So whatever you put in there, when you hold, you have to get it out in the sun and then get it just right. You get a good sun, it'll come back right here on this focal point, and it'll start paper, something small, maybe even a dry piece of grass like I've got there. So you just kind of stick it in here like that. Stick it through the bottom slightly. Kind of like that. I think you can see that adequately. You get this on eBay for, I don't know, $3 or something. It's really cheap, but it works. I've used it a few times. I was going to show this today, but I don't think we're going to have the sun for it. At any rate, you get that in the sun, get the angle right, and it comes back here with the sun, all beams right there, and it'll light that baby up. And then once it lights up, you can just pull it out, blow on it, keep it running, and then you can put it in your machine here and get your stuff going. So if you don't, even if you don't have matches, this little baby here, and it breaks down, just pops out to the left or to the right, I forget. Oh, actually it's like that, and then it folds down. into a smaller package. You can carry that in your backpack or whatever. Alright, you gotta watch this, kind of keep this going, because if it goes out on you, that's not good. And you just basically want to keep putting small sticks in here. But you want to make sure you got plenty of this dry stuff so you don't lose your fire. If it sticks out a little bit, it'll burn down. It burns pretty fast. So you should always have some stuff sitting back to poke in here and get this fire going that's already dried out. That's the best way to get going. You really need stuff that's already dried out. And the small little dry grass and stuff is the best thing to get it going with. And then the smallest little twigs you can find, that's really the best thing for this. So you just keep putting those little babies in there until you get some nice ashes going, and then you can keep a steady fire. Now the main thing is once you put this grill on here, how's that going to work? And the other thing is they didn't really design this to put the KettlePot on top of the grill. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, well I kind of like to do both. There's really no reason I shouldn't be able to do both. But the KettlePot, the way it's made, it won't fit down the grill. Even if you flip that up, as you can see the way it's made, it won't fit on there. So what I'm thinking about doing actually is cutting a little groove. I'm trying to kind of decide where I want that thing sitting, and then I'm going to cut a little groove right here on the side of it as we're watching today. If I think that'll work, once I get this on here and see what kind of fire we can keep going there, I'll set my KettlePot on there and I'll be heating my beans up and so forth, or my beets, while we're cooking some hot dogs on the grill. At least that's the plan. Obviously we haven't tried this before, so we're just going to kind of go with the flow. But I was looking at that and I was thinking, well, you know, why not? And the other thing I've got here, very good for biomass, walnut shells. I've got black walnuts. If you ever look at biomass machines that burn biomass, you should be able to see that pretty good. They're very dry and they're small, which is good. They burn well and they keep burning for a good while. So helps keep the fire going other than just burning the sticks. Basically, you just get it started small as you can, and just keep at it and building it and building it. Now, you don't want to get flames back on this. You can kind of see how it's shooting out right there, almost touching my thing there. So it's always good to have a piece held back, which you can use to maneuver other stuff with. Oops, I missed. Baby's putting out some heat, but that's the plan. So once it burns down a little bit, we get all those sticks in there, which I think is about right now. Then we can set this burner on here, which basically just sits right there, and then we get some heat and flames that come out. Another good reason for the stick. Alright, so here's where you're going to put your sticks in here to keep this going. But the other idea is, why can't I just have that KettlePot sitting here and have that heating my soup while I'm over here cooking my hot dogs over here on the side? So I don't see any reason, I don't see a reason I can't do it. Well, that already got pretty hot. So I think I'll turn, obviously you want to get the handle. Maybe even out this angle would be good, where you can have the handle out as far away from this hot grill. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to cut a little, oh, that baby's hot. Cut a little slice Well, unfortunately, that's in my slice. Alright, well, maybe I'll just put the slice right here on this side. That thing's still hot. I didn't have it on there that long. It certainly pulled up a lot of heat through there. Well, and the other thing about this is it helps keep that flame up so it doesn't get over here close to this. So it's nice to have that on there. Now this looks like it's going really good. Let's just close that. Yeah, that's pretty, that grill, that whole grill, that's pretty hot. I'm sure that's going to cook just fine. Now it's interesting, smoke went away. So when you close this, it does affect it a little bit. Not everybody's going to have walnut shells. It's kind of unique to our area in a lot of ways. Missouri is kind of the far now maybe, yeah, okay, I kicked it up on high. It won't do high right at first. Okay, well, as soon as I kicked it up on high, my fire jumped up. Yeah, that ought to be really good for these walnut shells. Apparently they need the extra air in there to keep those things going. It's looking pretty good. And having it on high definitely helps. I got a nice little stick here, so I'm going to keep a few sticks down in there as well. So, baby, looks like it's going really good. Woo. Yeah, it's and it blows more heat out, obviously on high. Well, you can see the smoke coming out of it right here. See, you've got a little perforated grill in here. Woo. Yep. Alright, so now I'm going to go cut this. Now it's cooled off a little bit. Basically, I'm just going to put a slice. If you look at the way the bottom's made, you can see the KettlePot in here. The bottom of it, it's got a recess here with some holes in it for the flames to come out. So the flames are going to come out anyway. Then I might as well just cut a piece out of it to fit over this piece here. I actually got flames popping out right here. It's really going. I'm not really worried about smoking up my garage. I got the doors open on both sides, so I'm going to go cut this. video going. So if you look up there, you'll be on. Alright, well, everybody wants to come and visit. Let's see what my fire is going. Well, now I got some nice embers down the bottom of it. So I'll keep doing the walnut shells. Looks like that's a winner. I would say it's heating up my sticks pretty fast, but we don't have to have it on high. If it'll run good on low. Alright, so we cut a little piece in it, we'll see what it'll do. Alright, so I just need a little bit more clearance, but actually may have to cut it a piece out of it. Yeah, well, you can see I got flames up this high, so I'm going to cut it back down to low, and we'll see how that does. I hope I don't run out of sticks. May have to go get something bigger. Got a lot of good embers in there. Let me show you what I did with this. Not the best looking thing. I always do a little deburr on it, but you can see I just cut a slice in it. There's the bottom of the thing, so I cut really close, probably within a 1/4 of an inch of touching it, so that's about as close as I felt like I wanted to get. And then that fits down over the slot. And even at that, it's not very stable necessarily. But the thing is, it doesn't actually go down all the way. So it's really not that bad. It fits on there, and I think it'll work. So I'm going to rinse it out so I don't have any junk in it, and then we're going to put some green beans and stuff in there. We're going to start with that. Now, we've got a lot of trash blowing off here just from the stuff laying around. I got my water. I'm going to talk about using ozone, how you can use ozone to improve your health. That's going really good, and that's still on low. So obviously you just need a lot of small sticks to put in here. I probably don't have enough. So I'm going to let that burn, and we'll go rinse this out and then get my beans started. Alright, I'm back. I brought some bigger pieces of wood, but it'll probably work. Now what I've got in there is getting some really good coals. So, of course, the reason I had to clean that is you get a lot of black smoke and tar coming off, depending on what kind of wood you're putting into it. So the better wood you can get in, the better flame you're going to get out of it. going to use up what I've got in here. These walnuts, I think these walnuts are probably doing a good job. Give me a good solid base down there in the bottom. Wouldn't hurt to have some pliers laying around to pick up debris. Now here's another thing, if you have stuff that's wet, that might be a problem as well. We'll kick that back up on high and let it burn off whatever that was. That was just walnut shells, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe I accidentally put my fire out. So if that's the case, I'm going to put some more small stuff in there, jam it in. Maybe that'll get me going again. Because there was a lot of red in the bottom of this thing. Alright, so now I found out what not to do. Don't put the fire out. There it goes. Alright. Alright, now I got some bigger stuff. So I'm gonna break some of this bigger stuff, get it down there and see what that does. That sticks up pretty high. But laying around, and it's good dead wood, so I'll break a few pieces and put some bigger stuff in there and see how that does. Luckily I got a vise sitting around. Alright, so the main thing then seems to be getting the fire going and getting a good base fire underneath. Alright, so getting some hot coals down and underneath seems to be the way to go. Alright, so she brought me some canned beets. Canned beets. Oh, here, let's just look at this. Green beans. Put them in there, can them, put a date on them so we know how long we've had them. Those came out of our garden from last year. And the beets were actually canned 2012. And I'm just going to basically do one at a time, obviously. Alright. So, I'm going to set that on there and see how that does. Now I've got a spoon to stir them with. I already got my plate dirty. That'd be better if I had this over here, downwind. So that was the idea. obviously I don't want to put the hot dogs on here yet because it's they're gonna not take very long. And I'm guessing these beets and this green beans are gonna take a lot longer to cook. So when I get them hot enough, I got a bowl here. I'll stick them in a bowl, then we'll put the beets in, and then I'll throw the hot dogs on. That's probably a good plan. At any rate, this is a neat little machine. I think it was about $2.20 for the whole package, something like that. I bought it right off their website. The good thing about it is you can put it all back in. Basically, it all fits back into here, and then it has just a little package it goes into, a little holder. I'll show you that again. But you can carry it all in. There's a couple of them. There's a small one, just for the Biolite unit, and I think the KettlePot fits in here. And then there's a bigger one. I'm sure if I got the bigger one. Yep. Oh no, here's a small one. So I was showing you the big one. This is a small one. It just holds the Biolite unit itself, and then you put the thermal unit or the fan or whatever you want to call it inside the Biolite, fold up the feet, and you can stick it in here. You get the KettlePot, then you get the bigger one. Once you get the Biolite all folded up, then you can put that whole unit down inside the KettlePot. There's a cup, you put that cup in the bottom, and then you've got your lid. So you can see it just fits right there. Looks like it's working on getting hot here. So my flame actually looks really good underneath. Looks like I got a good steady flame. I'm still on low. Got a lot of nice coals going in there, so it looks like it's doing really good. Now I've got some other pieces of wood I can throw down in here. They're kind of big. Just kind of getting a feel for how well this thing sits on there. Drop that piece in there. There's a notch on that lid, so you gotta fit on that. I cut out about a 1/4 inch piece, and it doesn't sit on here real good, but you know, the thing is, the flame, you got about an inch above where the top of that is to the bottom of this cup. You got about an inch, and then you got all these holes for the flames to come out. So really it doesn't restrict the flames. In fact, it probably makes a little Venturi kind of effect in a sense. Of course, you got the fan blowing anyway. So I'll look at it and see if I can come up with some piece maybe that lays across that will make it sit on here flat, because it can only go down so far on that side because of the top. Can't go down more than what it already does now. So basically you just need something on this back side that I can just lay on there, and then when you sit it down, it makes it nice, sit real nice. Now, it's not boiling yet. I didn't put a timer on it, but you can look on the video and see what the time's gone by. It's not bubbling, but it looks like it's ready. I can see flames. Couldn't get a good shot of it anyway, but you can see some flames shooting out, so I still got good flames underneath. So the main thing is just have some nice dry wood. If it was too wet, it'd just be putting smoke out. Get something good down the bottom. Like I said, those walnut shells are really good to have in the bottom. Anything that's a good hardwood, whatever you have, start out with something really small and then just keep building up until you get a good set of coals down the bottom of the unit. Once you get some coals in it, you can keep it going. Even though I put it out, it came right back. So you still want some of your fine grass or paper or whatever you got to throw in there in case you need to kick it and get it going again. That smoke's not a good thing. that might kind of give off your, it's just starting to bubble. Might kind of give away your location if you start putting out a bunch of smoke. Of course, if it's wet outside, it's going to be hard to get anything dry, but if you can collect it and save it one day for the next day, that's probably, you just need to plan ahead. Try to get you a little bit of stuff to cook with on the day ahead and stick it in your backpack or whatever you're traveling with. Or even a few days supply of wood. It really doesn't take that much. You can see what I used. Didn't amount to much at all. Of course, the type of wood, now it's starting to bubble pretty good. It's almost gonna boil here in a second. The type of wood, obviously some woods are gonna be a lot better to cook with, especially on like your hot dogs where you've got that smell of, oh, I don't know how many different kinds of wood wouldn't be healthy. Let's put it that way. I would say it's getting pretty hot. Got good bubbles. The other thing I can do is, if you want to have them both hot and everything cooked all at the same time, you can cook it, set it aside in a bowl, throw a lid on it to help keep it hot, and then I'm going to cook the beets, and then I can throw them in their bowl, and then I can put the greens back in for a minute to heat them back up. That way, basically they'll both be as hot as you want them when you're ready to eat them. So once I throw the hot dogs over here and get those done, that'll be the end of it. That'll be our video for today. So I think this is one of the nicest little units out there at the time being. Maybe something better will come along, but this isn't too bad. And it's pretty handy. I think in the end time, our biggest problem is actually going to be finding food to cook, not cooking it. Well, it's bubbling really good now, so what I'm going to do is pour it out, maybe add a little wood and come back with another meal here. Put a few small things down in there. It's looking pretty good inside. Alright. We'll go ahead and put our hot dogs over here. Of course, it's kind of hard to clean it off, but the good thing is any little debris that fell on here, it's down below the grill area where you're going to be cooking at. And it's hotter up at the top, so you're just going to have to kind of experiment with where you want these. I'm going to try to keep them back here on the back side for starters. And if the more level you can get this thing when you set it up, that's better to keep your food from rolling around if you got something like that, obviously. And if you can have your nice little towel or something around to wipe things off with, that's handy. I've got a couple clean ones over here. I was telling you about our water. We ozonate water. Ozonated water, using ozone, there's a number of ways to use it. I'm going to do a whole video series on home-based medicine. Ozone is one of the most healing things you can possibly own. Most people know very little about it or how it's used, but the fact is it's the ozone, oxygen, that's what really heals your body. For someone that just needs, you know, especially in the end time, you only got so many things you can have. Well, ozone would be one of the best things. You do need bottled oxygen, so you need pressurized oxygen. You don't really need that much pressure necessarily, so you could have an oxygen concentrator or something and feed an ozone machine like that. You can get by with 2 or 3 liters per minute, which is not very much. So an oxygen concentrator, I think they make up 5 liters per minute, which is more output than what you actually need to use it for therapy uses. So, and ozone can heal a number of problems. You'd be surprised if you look into it. You should look into it. Like I said, I'm going to do some video on it. There's not a whole bunch of information, but you can find some YouTube videos. You can find a few channels that get into using insufflation. You can get in a body bag, blow ozone into the bag, and basically get ozone over your whole body, which is real good for skin diseases, psoriasis, eczema, all these kinds of things. Anything that's a bacteria, a fungus, or a virus. So that kind of covers them all. Ozone will kill all of that. Internally, if you're drinking ozonated water, it gets into your system and it kills all the bad stuff in your colon, which is really where most of your diseases start. So we're going to talk about that in detail. Pretty hot. But I don't look like I'm doing a whole lot here on my... well, they are cooking a little bit. Not much. So I'll move them up. We'll get them closer. The hotter area is up here close to the fire. Alright, so I'm going to kick my flames up here, up my fire a little bit. Tried to put that big one in there. I'm not sure if it will go all the way in there. Besides that, I don't think I really need it. I think I can get by with this meal and what I got in there now. So there's your basic idea of how to make a meal with a Biolite. First, I'm in my bug out facility here, which is my garage. But we're going to cover some topics about cheapest way to set up rainwater collection tanks that are reasonably priced, that should hold up well, and we're going to go over a lot of little basic prepper topics that and show you know, stuff that people install. So we're going to actually look at things that are installed. Oh, that's funny. Those over there cook quite a bit. These over here. So my hot area is over here on this back side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide these around. Put these over there. Maybe I can just drag them over there. Maybe the wind, a little bit of air coming across here is keeping my heat. You can kind of see the smoke is coming off this way, so I get a little airflow. Basically just coming through the garage. Already got it bubbling down here in the bottom, so we'll be through with this pretty quick. And then you can just look at the minutes on your video, since we shot the whole thing and didn't cut it. You can get an idea for how long it took me to do that. And you know, if you can get the fire going a little faster. So yeah, you got a lot more flame right over here on this back side. That's where everything's really cooking, is over here. So I'm going to spin these around. And I kicked it back up on high. But my flames are a little low. Looks good down there, just it's low. So put a little bit more wood down the bottom of it. Just some small pieces. The smaller you get here, the easier it is to burn. Hopefully that'll do the job. Now, I've got the marks here on the side that tell you how much we're cooking. Got cups on one side, liters on the other. I put in right at 0.5 liters, which says it's 2 cups. So I'm right at 2 cups of material in here. And I'm getting a few bubbles popping up. It's not real hot, but it's getting there. Of course, you don't really want to necessarily cook stuff too fast anyway. So for the amount of wood we're using, I'd say it's doing really good. Now if you had some steaks on here, here again, a wind block where you don't have the wind blowing across it, which is going to take all the heat and put it over on whichever side the wind's blowing. So now they say that technically you should have the wind blowing at the fan, blowing that direction, because you don't want any flames blowing back and heat coming back over top of your fan unit. This is just plastic. It's gonna you don't want to get it too hot right now. It's just barely even warm, that you can tell. And the problem is when the fire doesn't look real good. And it's putting out smoke. That's not a good sign. The other thing is, I really didn't leave a lot of area in here. I got too much wood, too many pieces of wood, not enough area in between them to get them going again. Well, I got flame coming out. It's really not. And you know, the funny thing is, that one little stick there, it got it going. Started everything going. Flames look better. Let me just put this back on and see if it'll maintain it. Bubbles. And it's putting some smoke out, but well, we got smoke coming out, and of course it's burning the off of these hot dogs. It's burning that liquid that's coming off, so that's going to make smoke. You may have a little smoke coming from underneath as well. This is just steam on the top, but I got pretty good bubbling going now, so this is pretty close to being done here. My hot dogs are really not that bad, so we'll turn them, just try to get the better parts that hadn't got cooked very good. Some of the hot dogs are basically ready to come out. This other is ready to come out, so we're going to wrap it up. Now this is in really good shape here, so it's done. Alright. Now the question is, have my beans gotten too warm or too cold? Did I want to throw them back in? So, if you want to heat these back up, you just throw them back in there. Actually got a good fire underneath right now, and then I can be heating those back up a little bit, and then when I get done, oh, I'll say I overdid my hot dogs a little bit, so they're done. Some of them are a little too done, but so you just got to keep turning them, try to keep on top. Wasn't really the idea wasn't that you were gonna cook something on the top here. We just made that as in this video. Maybe maybe some other people thought of that before, but I didn't really think about it until I was looking at it, and I was thinking, well, maybe we can just do both at once. Well, my beans look good. And then I'll just let this burn after we get done. Gonna heat them up. I think they're right back to about where we want them. So that's the end of this one. I think we've done everything with Biolite to show how to get it set up, how to use it, and then from there you can just experiment with different kinds of food. Get some steaks on here and things, but it's going to be important that you don't get too much wind blowing across it to keep the heat in the cooking area. Otherwise, you get one side that's cool and all the heat goes to the other side, so that's not a great thing. Whether you want to modify this or not, I don't think it'll take much to make that sit on there straight. And that's about it. And then you cook you something, whatever you can catch. So I think we're good with that. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But basically concludes our meal, and we're going to go inside and eat. So thank you for watching, and we'll come back with some good ones.